Elise, you look like the kid from Home Alone.
Are you saying I look young? Thank you.
Hey, Google, turn off the switches. We are set.
Well, hello and welcome to Burger and Shawarma Gaming. You are in episode number 5. To my left, I have a burger, which is Elise. To my right, I have a shawarma, which is Rakan. And naturally, I'm in the middle. I'm T, and I don't matter. So today, we have got quite a jam-packed agenda for you, actually. And we've also got a very informative agenda for you. Shall we start off with our news segment, Rakan? Because I think we've got some pressing news to share. Should we kick you off with the spicy takes?
Well, yeah, sure. Well, the very first one I sent you guys, well, it's not actually news, but, something I just found out about, and I thought we could talk about it and see what you guys think. So, you guys know this game called GMod?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, Elise, you don't know what GMod is?
I do not know that game.
Okay. It's a very old game, and I'm not sure how to describe it, really, but...
It feels like an open source game. You can make whatever you want with it.
Yes, thank you, Jack. It is a very open source game, and you make these sort of silly things in it. People mostly use it to join servers that have already made like model structures, vehicles, and that kind of stuff. And there are these servers called live servers where you role play as whatever you want to role play. So you could be like a police officer, a chef, whatever it is, right? So, so this YouTuber broke the news of a person playing GMod in a specific server, and he paid $50K on that server, only to get like custom models and custom cars. And I thought that was like, I think that's a bit crazy,
Oh, dude, you say that, but I mean, this is the realm of NFTs, right?
NFT? What does NFT have to do with this?
Where it's something that is not a physical digital good. Like, you're in my realm almost a little bit here, where you're talking about things that have got value when they don't necessarily have a tangible presence.
No, you're right. No, I got you. I feel like
what you're talking about is the metaverse. That's what you're talking about here. And do you know that you can buy a property in the metaverse, and you could own a house in the metaverse, but you couldn't afford one in real life.
I've heard so much about the metaverse. I've never actually seen it. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen it like in action.
Yeah. It's because it's not doing very well, mate. I'm writing about this at the minute. It's how that just because there's a technology that's available, it doesn't mean that the public will adopt it. We've had metaverse technology since early 2000s with things like Second Life, things like that. Do you remember Second Life?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So these kind of simulators, for want of a better word, there's loads of stories where people will dedicate their lives to the character that they create on these places. I remember there was a news story, where the couple had a newborn baby, and they had a newborn baby in the game, and they were too busy looking after the newborn baby in the game that they neglected the real baby.
No.
I swear, man. I swear. But the point is that you have to remember that people's value systems could be displaced in the virtual. So this person who decides to drop $50K on a skin, that might be where they derive value from.
I just don't understand it though. I don't see the value in it, to be honest. I get, you see a nice skin, you want to buy it. Like if it's like through a bundle or something, like let's say it's it's like a reward in a Game Pass, right? Is it called a game? Not a Game Pass, a Season Pass, right?
Yeah.
You want to get this specific item right now. Fine, I'll drop $3, $4, $10, hell, and get that fancy looking skin or whatever it is. But to spend that much money on something that could just one day cease to exist just does not make sense to me. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, and Rakan, you've kind of included a piece of information that you didn't say at the start. So, Jack, what this YouTube video continues on to say is that you spend this money on these special custom items, and there's a ton of hidden fees associated with them. So you originally, correct me if I'm wrong, Rakan, you might originally buy a custom job it's listed for $100, but with all of the taxes and fees that go with it, it ends up being hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands. And then where the issue, well, there's already an issue with that, with those hidden fees. Where it becomes even worse is that if you you get a permanent job, but if you become inactive, it's no longer, they can remove it and they'll resell it to other players for a discounted price. So it's not actually permanent unless you remain on the game. It seems like daily or weekly.
Weekly,
that's not strange. Like, if just think of things, there's so many options for people to include that element into an MMO. If you think of something even like Puzzle Pirates back in the day, you'd have clans where there were roles in which you had to pay to be part of. If you wanted to be a captain, let's say, where you had your own sloop, then that meant that you had to pay real money to that clan in order to have that role. It's the same thing with things like Minecraft servers. If you want to be in the city and you want to be, I don't know, a lawyer, then you have to pay to help maintain that server, especially if you want mod privileges or something like that.
If you paid to be a lawyer in a Minecraft city, if you don't log on for 2 months because you're busy, do they revoke that from you, don't give you any money back, and sell it off to somebody else?
Guys, this is the nature of the problem of having a digital good, because it doesn't manifest in the physical realm. For example, with Netflix, you don't own anything that's on Netflix, you rent it.
That's kind of the other issue, is that when you watch Netflix, you are under when you're on Netflix, I imagine there's some kind of user agreement that you sign on to when you first start buying it, saying this is a streaming service, we have the right to take off content when we want, we have the right to add content when we want. You don't own it. But that's one of the issues that was highlighted in this video. You pay for this custom job to be done. There is nowhere. The guy in the video went through the stage of purchasing a custom thing twice and looked both times to see if there was any indication that they could take that away from you and give it to somebody else at any time.
I understand that, but you have to look into the fact that this is a general problem we're having with digital goods. If you are able to not have ownership of something, for example, the drink that you were just having, Rakan, the vitamin C drink.
Yes.
If I had it so that I was able to revoke from you at any time, digitally, then to what extent do you have ownership?
No, I get you. I think this is the same problem with Steam as well at the moment, because
Steam is key.
Steam. You don't actually own any of the games that you bought on Steam. You just have the license to play them and download them, but they could revoke at any time. But I think the key issue here is, for example, if we're going to compare a private server on Minecraft, it's they call it a donation, but it's really not. But they mainly use that money to maintain the server and to pay the fees for that server of keeping it up. But in this game, as Elise said, when you do a custom job, you're not really paying to keep up the server, because the server is still going to be up anyways.
This is the difference, mate.
Yeah.
Is that these places are market spaces. They are economies in and of themselves. They are meta economies. So when you have this, you going to work in that economy actually does something. There's actual supply and demand in these economies. It's like a game like Bannerlord, where you actually have supply and demand embedded into the game. The difference is, in these private servers, is that the scarcity is real. So if you only have 5 people online who are willing to do work, there is a shortage of labor. It's remarkable. Honestly, these things can become they're really good for sociological experiments. They really are.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. I'm just putting myself into that situation where if I joined like an RP server, I've played a lot of RP servers on GTA, on what's it called? I can't remember. On Arma, if you know Arma.
Yeah, Elise. Do you know the game you downloaded the other day, the DayZ?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's a spin-off of Arma.
It's not even a spin-off; it's a mod of Arma. You know, it first started as a mod in Arma, and then it became its own standalone game for some reason. I really don't get it, but that's besides the point. It's whenever I join these kind of servers, I never imagined anyone would pay that much money only to have like this custom car, maybe like in game. Keep in mind, you can just join another server that would have this model of the car, and you can just drive and hey, that's it. But no, I want to pay for that specific car in this specific server, and then I'm willing to pay 50k. Obviously, he didn't pay 50k for one car, but it's just mind blowing. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Rakan, there's a lot of theory that would tell you all about this stuff. And I know our podcast isn't really anything about that, but the key thing here is status. Having that car in that server means something. It's the same as building a structure on survival mode compared to creative mode. It meant something. It was harder to do, and that's why, the same reason why you'd buy a Rolex rather than a Peppa Pig watch. It means something.
No,
and there's a distinction. Yeah. It's consumption. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But what if you found a Peppa Pig Rolex?
Then you level up, Elise. You level up.
I'm pretty
I've seen
sure.
that.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You could find the Peppa Pig Rolex. Have you seen the Peppa Pig Gucci top? This is peak capitalism right here. Gucci Peppa Pig, buy it for me now. I want one too, please.
It looked decent, mate. It had Gucci in gold lettering. It was like, American Psycho, where they show off each other the cards.
Oh yes.
Let's see your Peppa Pig top. And it's like, it's got gold lettering. Look at that subtle red colour.
That's great. I don't know. I think just to move on, we got other stuff to talk about, like other news to talk about, actual news to talk about. I was really shocked. I was really shocked when I saw this video.
So, mate, you're saying you wouldn't want to own 50k worth of assets in a private server?
No, I do not. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm really fine.
Why is it valueless?
They're just models, bro. They're just models. It means nothing.
Do you have any crypto?
I do.
Oh.
I do. I do.
It's just...
I get it, but they're not worth 50k. They're not worth 50k.
Oh.
That's the problem.
Well, surely the difference would also be that equates to actual money that he could buy things with. Whereas when you purchase this custom job, it can only exist as you were saying, within that server. I guess it's the same as like buying any other service. We can judge what people choose to purchase and what people don't choose to purchase, but it's the value that you put into what you're buying.
It is. For me, the concern I have is when people regress into these worlds. So they might have 50k worth of assets in the world, but they live in like squalor in real life.
Yeah.
Where they that's what I mean. And the same thing as I said earlier on with that baby, where they neglected it. Like, I don't care if you play these games. I don't care if you want to spend 100k, but don't let yourself suffer in the real life to escape into this world.
Or make other people suffer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. All I'm gonna say, it's a bit sad to see someone would spend that much money on a model in a game that's barely alive.
The thing is, though, we don't know who this person is. He could rack in $3 million a year.
True. Yes.
And so he's like, you know what? Yeah, I want to buy these custom jobs. They want to sell it off for me because I don't log in. Fine.
No, that's absolutely true. And some people were speculating in the comment section that it's just money laundering for some reason. I don't. Yeah,
interesting.
Which is very possible. Like it is a possibility.
The problem with that theory is that how do you clean the money? Is unless the server is a corporate entity, you're not going to be able to. Anyway, exactly. It's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. So that's that.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is really interesting.
So the consensus is you wouldn't want to own a 50k Peugeot 207 in the game.
Yes.
Whereas I'm like, hey, that's a mechanism of status. I want that in my life.
Rakan, what's your limit of how much you would be willing to pay in actual money?
Let me amend my previous statement. Okay, let me amend my... No, you stupid. Let me amend my previous statement. I'm not willing to spend that much money on a game that's not relevant anymore.
Ah.
Right.
So if it was a new game, let's say it's got a player base of 50 million.
Exactly. That's fine with me. That's absolutely fine with me. Fine. If I know that it's relevant, it's being played by millions and millions and millions of players, and I'm going to keep playing it, and I'm pretty sure and I'm pretty confident that this game is going to keep on going for the coming years. Let's say it's like World of Warcraft or whatever it is. You know this game is not going to die anytime soon, right? No matter how many controversies coming out, no matter how shitty the patch or the expansion is, people are going to play it. Then it's fine with me. I'll pay up. I'm pretty sure...
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I spent a lot of money on World of Warcraft only on subscriptions alone, like subscriptions alone.
The subscription is different.
True.
Yeah,
it
of course.
Different. It is.
The point is, Rakan isn't making a distinction between paying for gaming and what you're paying for.
No, that's what I'm asking. I am asking very specifically, Rakan, what is your upper limit of how much you are willing to spend extra within a game? It's popular, you're enjoying playing it, you feel like you're going to return to it for years to come. What is your upper limit?
It depends on what I'm getting in return, though. Like,
let's say you get...
make it comparable to this story where he's getting custom, basically custom aesthetics, it seems. I haven't played that game. Maybe they serve a purpose, but it's custom skins. It's a custom skin for your car.
Custom wife.
Or a custom waifu. Yes. Look, if I'm getting, let's say, a custom weapon or a custom armor, whatever it is, in a game like World of Warcraft, where I know and other people know that this weapon or this armor is made for this player and only for him, I don't think I have any issue paying somewhere the north of 1k. Fine with me. But keep in mind, it needs to be on the scale of, let's say, World of Warcraft, these sort of big hitter of a game. But other than that, I'm not going anywhere above $50.
I'm quite contrasted to you because I very, very much so firmly plant myself in the field of I will not put extra money into this game. Unless it's, like if we were playing on a Minecraft server so that we can play cross-platform. Fine. Something that's kind of inherent to being able to pursue the gameplay. It makes me think of when we were all playing Sea of Thieves. You can get those pets. You can pay actual real-world money to get enough coins to be able to purchase the pet. Or you can do a lot of quests over quite a few hours to build up that special coin yourself. As much as I wanted that cat, I am not going to pay, $8 or whatever it is to get it, I will work and I will get the special coin and I will buy it that way. I don't think I have ever played a game, at least in my adult life, maybe when I was young and didn't understand the concept of putting real money into my game. I will not put anything. Farm Hero Saga wants me to pay 99 cents to get a bundle of benefits to help me pass the level. No way. I'll do it myself.
Okay.
I mean, that's fair, Elise.
Yeah, that's
For me, should I say what my stance would be?
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
So my stance would be, it depends on whether or not the asset is transferable. So I'm thinking of games like, oh my god, the name slips me. Very famous shooter that's like
Destiny?
20 years old.
Oh,
No,
20 years old.
Like 20 years old. It's got like world championships. The graphics are really old.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about. It's an arena shooter, right?
It's got like team deathmatch and things like that. And it starts off, there's like defuse the bomb, things like that.
Are you talking
What is that
about,
game called, man?
Counter-Strike?
Yes, Counter-Strike.
Yes,
Counter-Strike. Right. In that game, the stuff is transferable, and some of it is worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
Anything that has got a marketplace built within it, I am okay with. You can spend as much as you like. However, if it's a game like Call of Duty, where you can get a skin, you can't do anything with it. It's non-transferable.
Yeah.
If it's non-transferable, in my opinion, it is valueless. By virtue of the fact that it isn't able to be exchanged. If it can't be exchanged, it's priceless. So, I would say,
That's very reasonable. Yeah, that's fair. Shall we
Three
move
very
on?
different points on this spectrum.
Yeah.
Indeed. And only one of them was valid.
Mine? Thank you, Jack.
All right, let's move on. I got some sad news. I don't know if you care about this, but I do.
Oh, I love sad news.
You guys know what E3 is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Elise is shaking her head again. She's like, no.
Oh, Elise doesn't know what E3 is?
See, the thing is, I actually play a very important role in this podcast because I have no idea what the two of you are talking about half the time. Therefore, you have to provide at least some kind of explanation, which may be of benefit to our listeners.
Fine. Jack, do you want to explain what E3 is to Elise, if you don't mind?
It's a gaming convention. It's like a showcase of games.
It's the biggest gaming convention. The biggest. Where all the big releases are announced over there. All the big boys coming in and showing off what they have for the coming generation of games. It's a bit important. Unfortunately, we got the news that all the big boys are pulling out and saying, nope, we're good. We'll just do it by ourselves. Sony said we're not coming. Xbox said we're not coming. And recently, I think 2-3 days ago, Nintendo said, nope, we're not coming. E3. Yeah.
Well, I guess they're all just like, well, we'll just do it ourselves.
We'll just stream it.
Ourselves.
We'll just stream it. Cheaper.
Bigger reach.
Bigger reach. If anything, we learned from the pandemic. You can just do it by yourself, just stream the whole thing and you're fine. And that's what they did during the pandemic when
it just works.
It just works. it just works. What I'm worried about is if these big boys are pulling out, I think some of the middle kind of class gaming developers will just pull out as well. And that's where the actually interesting games are shown. And they'll just do it themselves. And I'm just worried that we're not gonna find out about them when E3 starts showing off their games. I don't know. I find it kind of sad, but it's understandable. I absolutely understand why they're doing this. It's cheaper, way faster and easier for them.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, mate, all E3 is a platform. And we've all played Game Dev Tycoon, and we know how expensive it is to get a platform at whatever their equivalent of E3 is. So, all this means is that developers just have to get good with social media.
And it's not that hard to get good with social media now, no?
I think it depends. Like, I mean, there's like the thing is that you would need to have something where it's like, so that new developers can get their games off the ground and marketing. You could have like a competition so that something like E3, I'm thinking the problem is a lot of old media for gaming isn't trusted as much anymore. Like things like IGN, no one cares what IGN thinks about a game.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe a decade ago, maybe you did. I think what you need to get for now is where a lot of publicity will come from people playing games. I'm thinking of, and forgive me for saying this, but the Sus game, Among Us, that got popular not from marketing, but from people playing the game.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right.
And it became an overnight success. But and that game had been out for a couple of years.
But don't you see the issue here? It's like when it comes to platforms as big as E3, it's where developers are being picked up by these big companies. Think of No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky was a very small development team, and they got picked up by Sony, and they were shoved into E3. I think it was on E3 when they started showing the games. So to lose that kind of opportunity in E3, it's a big loss on small developers. And let's be honest, like the past 4 or 5 years, all the fun games were made by small developers. Like AAA games were basically trash. Come on.
No, you're right. You are right. The hype at E3 can be dangerous as well.
Yeah.
They'll set themselves up to fail.
Yeah.
We won't talk about it.
We have to. We can look at Cyberpunk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But no, it is the game. If you want to talk about hype, you might as well talk about Cyberpunk. Can you remember the hype? Can you remember how...
I can feel it. I can feel the hype. It's in my bone structure.
Oh, God, man. That game broke me, man. It, really broke me. I was like, yeah, this is it. No more pre-orders. No more getting hyped over new games. What's the name of the... what's the name of the developer? Red...
Oh, you've got me now. Elise, who makes the Witcher games?
Is it Studio Red?
Project Red?
Project
CD. Yeah,
CD
well done.
Well done. Yeah, so if those guys, the guys that made Witcher 3, could basically screw us that bad, yeah, I'm not trusting anyone now.
No, you're right. They set a benchmark.
Yeah.
So the angel fell from the sky, and we realized that it was just a man.
Pretty much.
I would just like to point out that I feel like, not that they need it, and this is one of our first, still one of our first episodes, but my goodness, we've given Cyberpunk quite the platform on our podcast so far. I am about 85% sure we have talked about it on 4 out of the 5 episodes.
Isn't that how trauma manifests?
Well, you're not wrong. It was a traumatic experience, I'm afraid. I launched the game when it first came out. I launched the game. It's like, nope. And they didn't touch it for 2 years. So, no. I got depressed. Yeah, I got depressed for 2 years. And it was fine. I might as well just do it and get over with it. By that time, they fixed it. Anyways, that's besides the point. We will stop talking about Project Red and CD Projekt.
Are you sure? I feel like we might need to rename this podcast The Hype Around Cyberpunk.
The Victims of Cyberpunk.
Have we recovered?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
The victims, their voices.
But yeah, it's quite sad seeing... E3 going out like that, honestly. I don't think it's going to survive.
Something will replace it.
Yeah.
The laws of economics dictate that when you lose something like that, something will replace it.
Yeah, true.
It might be better.
It will be better. You know it's going to be better. But, it's E3. You grew up with it. You liked it. It's all the cringe, all the memes coming out of each E3. You just love it, yeah? But something better will replace it, and it's going to be the new norm, and that's it. I found this quite funny. So apparently, Nintendo signed a 10-year contract with Microsoft. Could you guess for what?
Really?
Yes.
I thought they hate each other.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. They're like enemies. Like, why would you do that?
Is it for the trademark for Mario?
No.
Guess again. Have one more guess.
One more guess, Jack. One more guess. You'd be surprised, trust me.
Can I have a clue?
It relates to a game that we played. Here, you can have that.
Recently, within the last 6 months.
A game that we played in the last 6 months that Microsoft and Nintendo would both be interested in. Well, is it Monster Hunter?
No, wrong. I'll tell you, Jack.
Go on.
They want to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles.
Oh, have you seen, mate? Have you seen Call of Duty on the Nintendo Wii?
I know,
it's
bro.
Trash. It's trash.
I know. And they basically...
I remember seeing Call of Duty Zombies on the Nintendo Wii. I remember that. I was like, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Which one's it going to be?
Most likely really bad. So they want to bring... So it's basically their commitment to bring the new releases of Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles. I was like, there is no way there'll be... Obviously, there's a way they could make it happen, but no way is it going to be anywhere close as good as it is on, let's say, I don't know, PS3. Like, I'm not even going to say PS4. Like, have you seen how underpowered the Switch is?
I was about to say, the hardware is... It's not that great.
No, it's not. It's like 2 generations behind. At least, like 2 generations behind. And they
so
they're like,
it's going to be PC, then it'll be console peasant, then it'll be Nintendo peasant.
No, mobile peasants, and then Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can play Call of Duty on the mobile, and it's actually quite good. But I can't imagine myself playing a Call of Duty on it. And let's be honest here. Do we buy a Nintendo console to play these kind of games?
No, you buy it for Animal Crossing.
Exactly. We buy it. Yes, Elise, you're going to say and Zelda. Yes, we know.
No, I was going to say not anymore. Now you buy it to play freaking Modern Warfare 2.
No way that's gonna happen. Like, no way.
Could you, mate? Imagine what the graphics would look like.
I bet my microwave could render better graphics than my Switch. Like, it's not gonna happen, bro. It's. But hey, they signed the deal. They signed the contract. We'll see what's gonna happen. I've heard some rumors. They're not confirmed that Nintendo are stepping up their hardware and they wanna, actually be competitive in this game. So we will see. I don't trust them. They released this new Switch, the what's it called? OLED Switch, something like that.
Yeah.
It's basically the Switch with a bigger screen. It doesn't even have better resolution. It's just a bigger screen. So this is the way Nintendo works. I really have no trust in them actually stepping up their hardware and that kind of stuff. They don't have an incentive to do so. People buy their consoles as is, so why would we just pay more? I don't get
market share.
Yeah. Didn't they have the biggest market share a couple of years ago?
I'm not sure. I know that Nintendo Wii is one of the biggest consoles ever. Like in terms of products sold. Yes,
in terms of products sold, yeah. But most people that bought Nintendo also had another console. I think that's what the report said. So it was like a secondary console in the household. Anyways, so that's I just found it funny, and I decided to hey guys, have a look at this. This is cool. It's interesting. We'll see what happens.
Mate, if I message you and I'm saying, "Oh, what are you playing on your Switch? You playing some Mario Party? You playing some Mario Kart?" No, I'm playing COD 5. What are you?
That's not gonna happen. And since we're on the subject of Microsoft, I'll be honest, I thought you'd be you would have had a look at this, Jack. But have you seen the report that Microsoft recently published to the UK
I've not
CMA?
seen any report.
Nothing, huh? I'll give you the gist of it. So Microsoft submitted their report, and in that report, they basically confirmed that Game Pass is cannibalizing sales, game sales.
It will be.
It is. It's already.
I mean, isn't that obvious?
That's what I thought. Like, isn't that obvious? But they're like, no. When they first launched Game Pass, I think, like, no. This will incentivize people to buy the game. If you give them the chance to play it, if you give them the chance to actually progress in the game, they will just buy it, because eventually we'll just take it off Game Pass and they'll have to buy it. But apparently people are like, no, I'm just going to play it. And if you take it off, you take it off. That's it. That's the end of it.
Well,
right? Like, yeah. Well, what did you think of? I'm not.
I mean, is there a game you've ever bought off Game Pass because you're like, oh, that was really good?
Yes. I mean, it's a tiny example. I get that this isn't the point you're making, but For the King, we started that because it was on Game Pass.
Really?
Yes, me and Jack. We downloaded it off of Game Pass to try because I thought the picture logo thing for it looked cute. So I downloaded it because I wanted to see what that cute game was. And now, I mean, we've played it quite a bit. We bought it on the Switch, not on the Xbox, but it was on Gold the other day. So now we have it on the Xbox too.
The reason we got For the King on Nintendo is because we wanted to play with Rakan.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Your incentive for going back and buying that game, it doesn't matter that it's because we wanted to play it with Rakan. Because surely the point isn't that you're giving, because Microsoft is going to make money either way. They're either making money because you're purchasing the games, or they're making money because you pay for the Game Pass subscription. I would imagine the issue is that people aren't buying the games themselves, therefore putting money toward the game. So, for the people who made For the King, it doesn't matter that we bought it on the Switch to start. It's the fact that we bought it.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
And I have gone on record multiple times and said that if I ever get a better laptop or an actual PC, I will buy 7 Days to Die. They will get my money. And I was introduced to that game on Game Pass.
Come on, man. Come on.
Just think, it's an example.
Could you imagine getting a PC to play that?
I would also be able to play Sons of the Forest, but that's a different issue.
Fine. I'd be very offended if you bought a PC just to play that stupid game. Like, the game is broken, man. Like, it's really broken. I don't... Whatever, man. Whatever. Anyways, back to the main subject. Game Pass is hitting F on game sales. And who would have thought... I guess most people that used Game Pass saw that coming. Well, except for Microsoft, apparently. Like, doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. Obviously, they saw it coming. They're just trying to defend their own product over here. So, even
isn't it in their own marketing when they say, "Oh, it's good value for money because you get to just try all these games and then not have to buy them"? Isn't that their own marketing? Yeah,
but imagine saying that and you want to also add more games. So asking other developers, hey, do you want to add your game on our Game Pass? They'd be like, no. Like, you came out saying that people don't have to buy our game. Like, why would I give you my game to put it on your platform?
I presume Microsoft pay them.
Pays them a margin, if I'm not mistaken. Just a bit. Just a tiny bit. Like, it's not that much. It's really not. Even Activision, in the article that I read, that even Activision is like a bit depressed because, you know, they have no other option but to add the games on Game Pass if Microsoft said so, but they didn't tell them yet. Yeah.
Could you imagine if Call of Duty went on Game Pass?
It will happen. Like, like it or not, it's going to happen, man.
Yeah.
I believe Call of Duty needs to die, but this is another subject that we could talk in another episode.
Oh, that could be next week.
That could be next week, yeah. I'll just end this news segment with the upcoming game releases. Actually, only one game release that I'm looking forward to, and you are also looking forward to it, Jack. It's Wolong. It's coming out in 2 days.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah. I've seen some videos, a bit of gameplays. It's a Souls game, but it doesn't wanna follow the conventional Souls games sort of line or gameplay.
And it's on Game Pass.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's coming to Game Pass.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, it seems Microsoft has screwed up with this now. Can you imagine?
No, I wouldn't play it if it wasn't on Game Pass.
Really?
The way I see it, I know we're dipping into this, but with Game Pass, you pay $10.99 and you get access to, I don't know, it's like hundreds of games. And I get my money's worth. If I play one game, if I play that game you just said, I've got my money's worth 5 times over, 6 times over.
7 times over.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I have a kind of logistics question then about what you were saying about the news for Game Pass cannibalizing game sales. Yeah. Obviously, I'm giving examples from just us. We are but, one duo of people who use Game Pass out of many users. But it just made me think of, for example, something like Sea of Thieves. Jack and I have talked about that if that goes off of Game Pass, because we've played it on Game Pass and we've loved it, we would buy it for ourselves because it's a game that we've already gone back to.
I already bought it. Well,
but so I guess my thing is part of this marketing strategy an element of delayed gratification where we let people get attached to this game. They get to play it, they get to have a taste, they get to enjoy it. And especially with these games like Sea of Thieves where it's not the end of a campaign, it's not the end of a story. You can keep going and have a new experience every time you play it. Surely that's almost the incentive of having it on Game Pass because of then when it goes off. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yes, but for games like that, it wouldn't go off because it's owned by Microsoft, isn't it?
Oh, well then it doesn't matter. I take it back.
Besides the point, even so, there's a catch. You need to get attached to the game. Like, not every game is going to be that good or that open-ended. You'll find, like, very small games on Game Pass where you can play it in a day and finish it, and that's it. That's the end of it. You're not going to buy it. So that sale's gone for the developer.
There's loads of games like that. There's loads.
But I think it depends on... I'm gonna go back to my example of For the King. That's a game that if I saw an ad for it or if somebody posted about it in some online forum, I probably wouldn't think twice to go look it up. And there's probably plenty of people who tried it on Game Pass and either didn't like it or played through the story and, checked that off the box, played that, good enough, not going to play it again. Surely it's dependent on people's individual preferences of, I might not play this game again, but person A over there will and wants to.
No, I get it.
It's a number crunching exercise. It's whether or not the subscription model gets more people to pay more money than paying for games themselves. I would wager that the subscription model works. Otherwise, why would it continue to exist?
I'll be sure it actually works, though.
Okay, let me rephrase. It works for the consumer.
It does work for the consumer, but in the end, it's a company. It needs to make a profit. But the problem with companies as big as Microsoft, I think they can take that loss only to prove a point or only for it to work in the next 10 years. They don't care about results right now or within this financial year. I don't think they care that much. So they're fine. They can just wait it out. It's a waiting game. It could be just a waiting game for them.
Personally, I'm very happy with Game Pass. I think it's great.
no consumer would come and say Game Pass is trash or this model to play a game or to try out these games is just bad. I don't think so. It's really, I don't get it. I don't see why a consumer would complain about Game Pass. It's really good.
I mean, you could complain about the kinds of games that are on it, potentially.
What I'm trying to say is you need to look at it from a developer and a publisher standpoint. You need to look at it that way. Those people need to make their money. They need to make a profit out of this product that they spent so many years to make. And with a model like Game Pass, it's really hard. It's really hard for them.
It depends on where you get your money from. If you look at something like Grand Theft Auto, right? Where does the majority of the money for Grand Theft Auto 5 come from?
GTA Online.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, player base is then important. It's not about how many copies you sell, it's about player base.
True. Well, I guess we'll see in the coming years. In the same article that I read, they're also talking about Microsoft's movement towards streaming games, like what's it called, Nvidia Now and GeForce, or I can't even remember the name.
Called Microsoft Cloud.
Or is it not Xbox Cloud, something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've used it.
Yeah, they want to make it into a viable sort of way to play a game. They're quite serious about it, at least. That's the least you could say. It's good. I mean, it's really good. However, I don't see it working out anytime soon.
Not until internet speeds improve.
Yeah.
Especially in our house.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's even with wired internet, it just doesn't. It's not good enough.
There's a lot of things that plays into this problem. It's not only your speed. I mean, I got good speed. My internet is quite fast, but even when I stream games, it's choppy. It's only because of the ping, because the servers are like 2 continents away from me, and that's why it's just not going to be as good. So
maybe you should move.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Only to stream games. But that concludes the news that I have for you guys.
Wait, I would like to add a second game that I saw on that list that I know you're going to be hyped for, Jack. And it, to use the dreaded word from last week, and I am hyped for it as well. Dead Island 2 is scheduled to come out in April.
Oh.
God, Dead Island 2?
Yep. Hoodoo you voodoo.
Elise, do you know how long that game has been in development?
I do not know how long, but I saw in the article that people were shocked that there's actually a release date that's come out, and that it's very soon. I'm
pretty baffled. I'm going to have a little peek.
Look at the art here. I have it right here, actually, because I wanted to make sure to bring it up, in case that wasn't one you wanted to highlight, Rakan.
I didn't catch that.
April 2023, and look at the picture. It looks cool.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I love that game.
Yeah, me too, man.
Do you know, that could be homework for April.
How does GameStop have a review on this game? Come on, man. How?
Speaking of reviews, should we
that was a good segue.
Should we do Elise's reviews?
Yeah, we should.
Okay. Go on, Elise.
Okay.
Hit us with the review.
I will hit you with the review. So, as you both know, my homework last time was to play the first Red Dead game. First of all, I wanted to say that I have finished the second Red Dead game at this point, and I wanted to say like 10 seconds of something quickly, because I am the one that edits this podcast, and I went back and listened to the episode, and go. I had the gumption to say that I thought first of all, massive spoilers lie ahead. I had the gall to say that if Micah were the sole betrayer, that was lazy writing. And I would like to go on record and just clarify that I do not think that was lazy writing. I thought the way that the story unfolded really was very natural. I thought the twists that they took me on were quite wild. The reason why I felt that way was because of the red herring of Molly saying that she spilled the beans to the Pinkertons when she actually didn't. That's what made me feel a bit conflicted on who I thought was guilty, but I do not think that the Micah storyline was lazy. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was very well written. I thought it was a representation of kind of, isn't it Occam's razor, where the easiest answer is usually the most correct? Very honestly, I think Red Dead 2 is my new favorite game. The action, the story, the character development, and I know I've only played a fraction of the game. I still give it a 10. Boom, there you go. That's me completely done with Red Dead 2.
Okay.
So moving along to Red Dead 1. We're taking it back to 2000 whatever when it was made. The game starts with Bill nearly killing John right outside his fortress, and that theme continues with Dutch later in the game, where Dutch takes a shot at John and almost kills him. So I thought that was an interesting parallel. Obviously, you can tell the game is quite dated. The gameplay, the depth that goes into the stories, the length of the game time. But I think, considering when it came out, I think it still holds up. I didn't hold that against the game. You have to appreciate when something was made with how it plays. Yeah. One example of this is that in the second Red Dead, you get the storyline for the Skinners set up. And this Skinner storyline was where I think it's Charles is talking about how there's people living in the area where John is building his new home, and these people kidnap and torture locals. Uncle ends up getting kidnapped. They're basically slow roasting him. It's very brutal. There's a lot of people who are Skinners, and it doesn't get resolved by the end of John's part of Red Dead 2. So for me, going into the first game, I thought that that might end up being an important storyline. There is a side story that has to do with the Skinners, but it's nowhere near as in-depth as I thought it might be. Essentially, you find a couple of people for side quest missions saying that one of their loved ones got kidnapped, they're missing, we can't find them, they always go missing in the hills. So you go out to try to find these people, and you always find literally just a splotch of red on the land, which you can tell it's blood anyway, because there's a couple of bones near it as well, but John has to do the same animation where he sits down and, like, dips his hand in the blood and, gotta feel it, make sure that's what this actually is. And then you go back, you tell the person that you couldn't find their loved one. Actually, scratch that. You may not have even had to go back and tell them you couldn't find their loved one. You just waited for the next storyline to pop up. After doing this a couple of times, you go out to search for this missing person, and you find somebody who is very clearly one of these Skinners. He's saying, I'm injured, this person attacked me, help me find them. So you go out looking for the person who attacked them. It's a man in a suit, looking really nice for the time, clearly probably not some kind of vicious attacker, and he's saying, I'm trying to get away from that man, he tried to kill me. So you hog tie the man in the suit and carry him back to the Skinner. You lay down the guy on the ground, and the Skinner doesn't even try to pretend that he's not a Skinner. He literally says something along the lines of, it's time to eat, I'm hungry, and starts to slowly move down towards the body with his mouth open like he's going to take a bite. And you have just a couple seconds to decide, do I let this cannibal eat this man, or do I save the suited man? So I saved the man. That just felt like I know they're different games made in different times, but I felt that that helped to demonstrate my thought of how story depth differs between the two. It was over so quick. Apparently that one man you found is the only Skinner that lives in these hills because nobody else goes missing for the rest of the game. Maybe I didn't engage with the story from start to finish, but I tried to because I thought it would be interesting. So continuing off of this, of just how games have developed and maybe how how different aspects of playing a game are done a bit differently now. There are some really cheesy, repetitive lines that you say quite a bit throughout the game. So for one example, John's response to basically any woman who dares speak to him is, "I'm a married man. Sorry, ladies, I have a wife," or something along those lines.
Isn't that what Jack says?
Any man or any woman looks at you on the street, "Sorry, I have a wife." I think it's wholesome that obviously they're trying to convey that this character is solely about his wife and his son, even though he's an outlaw, even though he used to be in a gang. I thought that that was a wholesome point to convey, but I think games do that kind of little detailing differently now. I thought this was also kind of apparent when John loots different bodies. He says things like, "Excuse me, sir. Thank you, friend." And it's regardless of who he's looting. John, my guy, you just executed this man for stealing from the local shop. He's not your friend. You don't need to say so. So I think it's little things like that which help show the difference between those two games. If it's been a while since you've played, though, I definitely recommend going back and going to the movie theater. It plays a movie in black and white, and it's in black water. It shows a strong man who keeps coming across independent women who don't need him. And the film ends up being propaganda about the downfall of society if women can vote. It's very funny. Definitely recommend. So there are a couple things I wanted to talk about quickly that were what I didn't really like about the game. I didn't like the time restrictions for the missions. You might have a thing where you have to go to a government building to talk to somebody who works there. Oh, you can only come between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Fine. But then the game makes you either have to go do something else, or you have to go back to your little house in that town and skip forward 6 hours. Whereas I think a more modern mechanic is you might get the option to wait where you're standing. So something like that, I think, helps with ease of gameplay. I don't want to go back and forward from my house 5 times to play this mission. I also thought the fact that there was no stamina bar, I didn't seem to be affected by stamina at all. Great, I can run as long as I want. Works just fine for me. But there's also no health bar, and that drove me kind of bonkers. Because when you get hit, you show a couple blood spatters on the screen, but all it takes is like another quick one that you're done for. This game made me realize that I like being able to have a health bar to refer to, just to know where I'm at. This also, I felt like you both would appreciate this quick point I wanted to make, because I just think you both would expect this to happen in my game. There are 2 very pivotal parts of the game where you ride on your horse to your next destination. It's a long ride, much like the second game when you're riding to the end of game or when you come back from Guarma. You're riding on your horse and a song starts playing. It's got quite a vibe to it. It's quite a mood. You're feeling things because you're accomplishing things in the game. On one of the rides, you're riding alongside the side of a cliff, and I fell off of it into the water and I died, and then I had to replay that session, but I didn't get to hear the whole song, and it really bummed me out. So I just missed out on that completely, really. So kind of jumping ahead quite far to the end of the game, I was very surprised that Uncle died. Basically, the whole ending caught me quite off guard. I don't know why, I just didn't think it was going to end there and then. You're having such a nice day. You've been having quite a few wholesome missions with your wife and your son and with Uncle. And then all of a sudden, one day comes along and all of it ends. It really, really took me by surprise. So Uncle gets shot by these army people coming in. He dies. Then you go into the barn. You're trying to escape with Abigail and Jack as more and more waves of military men are coming to your home. John going out of the barn and seeing all those men lined up there. And you've got, 4 seconds of Deadeye to try to do the damage you can. And then you just get absolutely just just gunned down. I was going to say massacred, but it's only one person, but it felt like that. And then Jack and Abigail come back and they see you on the ground. It was quite sad. I'm not going to lie. It has a different feel to it than the second game does.
Obviously, it's been a while since I played the game, and hearing you talking about it, like, it just brings up memories. I think last time I played it was in 2007, maybe 2008, something like that. Yeah, it's been ages, man. It's been ages. But if you played the since you played Red Dead 2, you kind of see it coming. No, you've had to see it coming. Like
I did see it coming. I didn't see it coming when it happened. With the second game, it becomes very apparent very quickly that you're at the end. Tensions are building. The group has completely split apart. Dutch has made his decision. You've made yours. At least me, knowing that the main character dies, I could tell when Arthur's ending was coming. So I think for me, for this game, I figured that John would die. I just didn't see it coming then. I figured there would be another conflict to emerge because I wrote down at a point when I was playing and I said to Jack, I think right after Dutch died, I think I looked at Jack and I was like, but the thing is, Dutch isn't the villain in this game. Ross and his little henchmen are.
Yeah.
So I figured there would be a bit more of a build-up to that playing out. But instead, you've got quite an intense final battle, and boom, you're done. So I did see it coming, but I found it quite shocking. But that's something that I thought was interesting was I thought there were quite a few parallels in the gameplay between the two games. So as you're saying, Rakan, you are going to get clues to what might happen because of how these two games do kind of parallel each other in some ways. And I mean, one example of that is kind of with who you think the villain is. In the second game, you think the villain is the Pinkertons and the law, but really it's Micah, and to an extent, Dutch as well. And in the first game, you're meant to think that it's Bill, Javier, and Dutch, but the real villain is Ross and his friend, in my opinion anyway. I mean, they all are villains, but it's kind of what's fueling this underlying... You've got the fire happening, but what's fueling it? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does make sense. I got a question, though. I'm not sure if you're going to get to it, but I really want to ask it. Have you seen the cutscene after you finish the game?
Which one? The second one? First one? Sorry?
The first one. The first Red Dead.
I watched all of the credits. I don't know if I remember the cutscene.
Jack, do you know which cutscene I'm talking about?
I'm not sure, bro. Give me a hint.
When the son is all grown up?
Oh, yes,
well,
I made sure she did that. I made sure she did that.
Okay, good. Well,
I made sure that she...
Yeah, okay.
It's not an epilogue in the same way as number 2 has an epilogue.
Yes.
No,
you're right.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. So, yes, points to you, Rakan, for knowing where I was going. Yeah, obviously you go back and you play as Jack a few years later. It's revealed that Abigail has died as well. So Uncle, John, and Abigail are all dead.
Do they tell you how Abigail died?
No, you're Jack.
Yes.
Standing on the property, and you're looking at 3 gravestones. You've got John, Abigail, and Uncle. John and Uncle obviously died in the same year, which I don't remember what it was now. And then it shows Abigail died a couple years later. Yeah, so you're just standing on the property. It doesn't give you any context. You then play kind of a mini side story. I could see how people could potentially miss this because it's not marked as a main quest. It acts as if the game is over. So unless you go seek out this new side quest, I imagine there are people who haven't truly finished the game because you have to go seek out this side quest.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we're informing them. Go play it. Turn this off if you haven't played this. Go back and explore. But there's this ending side quest where you're Jack and you track down Ross. He's retired. You track him down. He's hunting some ducks. And you hit a massive F on him. You say, I'm Jack. You knew my dad, John Marston. And Ross, you know, he had every opportunity to be like, look, not that this excuses it, but look, I had a job to do and I did it. He doesn't, though. He basically tells Jack, you are just as much of a piece of scum on this planet as your father was. And it just brings so much joy to ending him. So yeah, and that was, I mean, I thought, again, this is me being influenced by the second game, but I thought that might go a bit longer than it did, but still very satisfying. Jack actually, our Jack, not Jack in the game.
Yeah.
Do you remember your very keen observation you made of that final scene?
It's not my observation. I believe I read it somewhere.
Oh, well, as far as I know, it's your original thought.
No, I'm not that clever. So essentially, the observation is that when Jack meets Ross is when he's learning to fish with Arthur, and then that's where Ross gets clapped. Is when he's by a lake.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a full circle kind of thing.
Wow, I didn't know that, man.
Well, because when you go fishing with Jack, if they come up to him,
yeah,
and then he goes up to them at the end, and while he's shooting duck by the pond, and gets clapped.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Yes,
yeah,
good.
I thought it was good as well.
And
yeah,
right after you do it, it cuts and, you know, pulls up the title of the game again and starts playing cowboy music. It's a pretty good way to end. But yeah, so that was my experience of playing the first game as well.
I got an important question over here.
Yes.
Have you met the strange man?
No, I have no idea who the strange man is. For all I know, you're the strange man who keeps asking this weird question. I have no idea.
I thought Strange Man was a main part of the quest. Maybe
That's
not.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
Maybe it must be a side quest.
At least in the first Red Dead, you have to meet him.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think I recall meeting a man who says something kind of cryptic to you or something like that.
Yes.
But it doesn't really go anywhere, and I don't remember the interaction.
What did the man look like?
I don't remember. Was
he wearing all black and a hat?
I don't remember, because some context for our listeners, we took probably a 2.5-3 week break from recording just because we were all busy, and obviously this is unknown because we haven't actually released these episodes yet. We're going to release the first few in a bit of a bulk bit and then go week by week. So it's been a while since I played it at this point.
You'd remember, Elise.
You would remember.
I would. Maybe I need to Google Red Dead Redemption 1 Strange Man.
Don't you remember trying to shoot at this guy and he just basically walks it off?
No.
What?
That doesn't mean I didn't do it. I'm saying I don't remember it.
Fine, I'll just break it. I'll just break it to you. You meet this strange man, and as you said, he comes to you and says something cryptic to you, something along the lines of, "Oh, I know you quite well, John Marston. I know you. Yeah, you're a bad man," or something like that. And John obviously being like, "Who are you? How do you know me?" and that kind of stuff. As he's walking off, you shoot at him a couple of rounds, I think, and he's just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
The thing is, what I remember more clearly is from the second game, nearish the end, there's a guy standing in a river at a point who's he made me think of kind of like a preacher or something, yelling really weird things at you. He's not wearing all black. He looks, from what I remember, he looks quite scruffy, and he's just saying weird things. He's not saying anything specific to you, but kind of, I know who you are, you can't escape your fate kind of stuff.
No, that's not him.
That's not him.
Okay.
That's not.
He was very rude. I didn't like him when I met him.
The strange man wears a top hat.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a top hat. I think I have somehow managed to evade the strange man.
Well,
but I'll look it up to see.
He's deaf. He's deaf. Yeah. You meet him a
Spoiler
couple
alert.
of times. Yeah. And
yeah, he's in both games.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, oh,
well, I think I mean, this isn't the same, but just what you're saying is just making me think a bit. I was talking to my brother, actually, about playing the second game and the first game because he's played them both. And he was saying to me, oh, you really should have played the first game first. But I'm kind of glad that the two of you assigned me the second game and then the first game because I already knew things about the second game
Your
going
brother is
into
not
it.
a pro gamer, my guy.
Well, he's going to listen to this and we'll let him respond to that accusation.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
What, play the first game first?
I would say play the prequel first if you can.
Yeah. Play Red Dead 2 and then the first Red Dead.
Yeah, because at least by playing the second game first, there was things in the first game that you wouldn't have been able to anticipate. For example, you didn't know that Dutch lived.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, and that's exactly the point of what you both were saying. That's exactly what it made me think of. I didn't know that Dutch lived. I didn't know that there was a gang where everything kind of went wrong. I didn't know anything. I didn't know that, I mean, this is kind of a more silly plot point, but I didn't know that Abigail and John had a, loving marriage, because in the second game they really don't seem like it, but in the first game, as I said, that's all he can talk about, is how much he loves his wife. So there were
I'm a married man.
I'm a married man. But yeah, the only thing I knew going into the second game was that Arthur got TB and died, and that you're in the Wild West. You're a cowboy. If I'd have played the first game first, exactly what both of you said, I would have already known who ended up alive and who didn't.
You would have spoiled a huge chunk of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I loved playing it in this order. Now, this actually serves as a bit of a segue for me. I know I told you both that I wanted to try a new segment. There are some people who really don't like these games, and I'd like to tell you about them. Okay, so my working title for this segment is maybe something simple, just like 1-star reviews. Although they're not all 1 star, so maybe that's a crappy working title. We'll make it a bit of a
falling
game.
apart, guys. But yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
I know, man.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
It's already falling apart.
So, this first review, this person mixed up. I looked up because I felt like this week the focus is the first Red Dead game. This person didn't understand that there's a difference because I specifically looked up reviews for Red Dead Redemption 1. This review is for Red Dead Redemption 2, and this person really didn't like it. I'm going to read it as it's written. Red Dead is so dumb because you cannot save your game. Oh, sorry, GTA, good game, but still cannot save your game. And why does Arthur die? And there should be a cooler ending. With Rockstar's games, GTA had a good ending. Last, where did Dutch go?
Oh, no.
There is not a single punctuation in that entire thing.
Elise, that comment is written the way that you speak.
Oh.
I respect that. Sick burn, bro.
Oh,
So yes, that person did not like that game at all. Didn't like the second one, and he made it to the end. He knows that Arthur's dead, and he knows to ask the very key question, where did Dutch go?
Oh.
He played the whole thing, and that was his opinion of it.
Maybe he's trolling, man. Maybe he's just
Elise,
trolling.
not everybody can be trusted with an opinion.
Well, and obviously, I imagine many people listening who have played this game already know this. The overwhelming reviews for both of the games, it's nearly a 5-star game on just Google. I'm being nitpicky. We're going to the bottom of the opinion barrel here.
Okay.
The next negative review, too complicated, too many controls, and stodgy control. Can't see the big deal with the game.
What?
Too many controls, and they're stodgy.
No,
Now,
complicated.
I would like,
too complicated. I like
before
that.
we play, I've decided to play a little bit of a game. Before we play the little bit of a game, here's the final bad review. Bad graphics cringe with many exclamation points.
Do we have to guess which game he's talking about?
I mean, it's hard to know because that first one is listed under Red Dead 1, but it's about Red Dead 2. So
okay.
Now, I think it's important to point out, I know not everybody's good at spelling. This is bad graphics, but it's the way Jack speaks as a British person. It's not PH, it's an F. Bad graphics. Now, here's my game I want to play quickly. I'm going to read you 2 reviews, and I want you to tell me how many stars you think they have.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
It is really good. With like 50 exclamation points.
Elise, it was so good that you cut out.
Yeah.
Well, how many stars do you think this person?
How many O's are in the good?
Yeah.
A lot. I would say 30 to 40.
Oh,
that's not many. That's not many. So I'm going to say
that's not many.
If I want to say a game's really good, I'm going to give it at least 5. At least 5 O's.
There's 30 to 40.
Exactly. That's not enough, is it?
Okay.
Okay.
Is what I said technically incorrect? Don't think so. I said I'd give it at least 5.
Fine. So how many stars do you think it is?
3.
I mean, if he says it's really that good, with at least 30 O's, 4.5, 5, at least.
Okay. Now, I'm going to read you the second one and have you guess again, and then I'll do a big reveal, okay?
Okay.
This is a great game! Exclamation point. Loved every second of it.
1 star.
I mean, yeah, I want to say 1 or 2 stars.
I feel like Elise is trolling. So
Yeah.
1 star.
I am trolling. They're both 1 stars.
Okay,
Oh
there we go.
my God.
See, I was close. I was similar to how Elise thinks.
So yeah,
The
so that's
best
my
game ever. 1 star.
yeah, exactly. So that's my new little segment I wanted to do. I found a couple what I thought were kind of funny bad reviews.
Well, at least you thought it was funny, Elise.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for your homework sharing, Elise. I'm glad that you enjoyed the game, Elise. I think they're very, very important parts of certainly my gaming history. I think I cried when John died.
He's an outlaw, Jack. No, I didn't cry. He's an outlaw.
I bet you did.
He had it coming.
Rakan,
What?
I bet you cried when, in Stardew Valley, when your crops get a bit diseased. I bet you cry over that.
They didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve it, unlike John over there. Come on, bro.
Controversial opinion.
Should I give a rating for the game?
Yes, yeah, you should rate it, at least.
I think I would rate
it a 3 out
game.
of 10.
I think I'll give it an 8. Because I found it. Why are you angry? Jack is nodding.
I think 8's okay. I think
8 is not okay, Jack.
You haven't played it since before the last couple decades. What room do you have to say what I should rate it?
Fine, Elise. You may finish.
The way I see it,
what?
You have to look at her stuff relatively, right? She gave Modern Warfare 2 a 6, or I think a 6 or a 7.
I gave it a 6.5.
Okay, which means that she is objectively saying that this is better than that. And I think that's something that we should value in Elise. That she's becoming, I don't know. I'm just trying to defend her, okay?
It's not. What would you, Rakan, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 9.5, at least.
So you don't think I've gone...
If you played it back in 2004 when it came out, it's a 10 out of 10.
But I didn't. That's the whole point.
You didn't. But compared it to the other games that came out in the past 3 years, keep in mind that game came out in 2004. How would he give it an 8?
I think the thing is, because that's not how I think about it. I am comparing it so far to the other games I've played here.
I think it's valid, at least.
And to the other games I've played. I couldn't tell you what other games came out in the year of or years surrounding Red Dead. I have no idea.
Okay, fine.
But I'm just rating it. Me playing it in 2023, I give it an 8. I think the story held up. I liked the quests that you had to do. I liked a good chunk of the character development. I thought there were some unique quests in it as well. I mean, obviously the drawbacks to it are going to be things like
Products of its time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a product of its time. I don't think that I can have played the second game just before this one and gave it a 10 out of 10 and say that I would give this game a 10 out of 10 too, because I just wouldn't.
That's fair. Fair enough, Elise.
Okay.
That's everything, right?
Yes.
Should we... What about next time's homework?
Okay. So, Elise, your homework, let's say, is the original Gears of War trilogy. So 1, 2, and 3. The story and all of that of what you think about those games, okay? I will play them with you because someone needs to be competent in the shootout.
For a second, I thought we were talking about... what's the Hideo Kojima game? Metal Gear. I thought we were talking about Metal Gear. Got me excited for a second, bro.
Okay. Thank you for listening. Next week, we'll have some more news from Rakan, have some more homework from Elise, and have some more banter from me. See you next time.
See ya. Okay, boys. That was really good.
How does pizza for dinner sound?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Taco Bell and I got really excited.
How dare you?